Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing great. Not sure what I'm calling this, but something to do with maybe tunnel vision, or sometimes how we can get a little stuck in our current beliefs of our reality. Maybe the belief of the way things have to play out, beliefs on how things currently are, beliefs that might limit us. Maybe there's some limitation because of their religion, or because they're getting married soon, or because their mom's trying to set them up with someone, because they are dating someone else right now. Sometimes we'll have these fixated these thoughts, like we're so fixed and focused, like this is how it has to play out. This is how we're supposed to spend time together, and if we don't actually spend time together, then how can we possibly date? And if we're not dating, then how can we be together? Or, you know, again, with the job, maybe I'm just trying to touch base with someone, or maybe I'm a salesperson and I keep making calls and I'm getting an abnormal number of no's today, or whatever, right? These things can kind of put us in a certain way of thinking. And I guess what sparked this, and we'll see what other examples I can come up with, but a really good friend of mine was actually an ex-girlfriend's mom. Well, she was a girlfriend at one time. It was still her mom, even then. But she was actually a pretty sharp lady. She did technical writing. She's a very, very intelligent lady. Very super spiritual, by the way. Super, super spiritual. Very talented, psychic and all these things, and healer, and very cool. Learned a lot of great stuff from her. Great lady. She made super good money. She was, like I said, a technical writer. She worked remotely, so she put in her time, but she made really good money. Part of why she moved out to the state I was in is because the tax rate's so low. She was trying to come up with ways to increase her income. Now, she was in another state where some of the spiritual stuff that she used to do back in California wasn't as prevalent out there. Not a lot of people looking to get healing, certainly not people that are willing to pay some of the money that she was used to getting for doing those kinds of things. So when you got a mindset where you're trying to figure out, how can I increase my income? And I'm out in the middle of nowhere because I got this belief that I can't necessarily generate anything because maybe I don't know anyone yet. Maybe it really kind of was a depressed area for that kind of stuff. So you get that blockage in your mind. You get that I can't do this because scenario. So from that standpoint, she started trying to figure out how to de-tax herself. And out here, there's questions around the legality of taxation and all these things. I'm not trying to get into that. It's a totally different show. Certainly it's interesting and it's entertaining. And there was a big movement back in the, late 90s, I guess, to try to de-tax yourself. And pretty much everybody that ever tried it failed. Just so. Not something I would ever recommend. Not a good idea. But she went down that path and ended up getting fined pretty heavily. But again, it was that mindset. It's like, I can't figure out how to make more money per se. So let me try to figure out how I can hang on to more money. Well, when you do that, you start to go into a limiting kind of mindset, a limiting energy, a limiting viewpoint about income. Now it's, I can't make more income, so I've got to find a way to shave money off of what I'm paying out in taxes or whatever. I've got to find a way to change what I currently have to make it fit this idea I've got. And in the case of money, what also came with this, aside from trying to figure out how to pay less money in taxes, she actually started going down and raising up her credit because she had it in her mind. And then I've had discussions with people in comments, and I've tried this as well too. I've been down the whole path where the idea of spending credit, of spending something you don't have, but you're still spending, right? So you're creating that spending energy, that spending real estate, right? What you're asking the universe for. You're like, I'm all about abundance. See how I'm spending money? See how I'm buying things? But the reality is you're spending money that you don't have. You're spending credit. Credit's not money. Credit's spending money you don't have. When you buy something on credit, barring emergencies, houses, and other things, there are reasons why credit can definitely be advantageous, no question about it. But when you're going out and putting stuff on credit cards to buy it, and you're buying it on your credit card, you're doing it because you don't currently have the means of doing it right now. So it's not an abundance spending, it's lack. So because of the lack I have, I'm going to spend this fake money. And a lot of people kind of see it. Unfortunately, I disagree, but they see it, I think, backwards. The fact that you're spending money you don't have is a limiting or a lack-like behavior. What you do is you manifest the money to go buy what it is that you want. And you force the universe to put the money into your hands. That is how you increase your abundance. That is how you increase your throughput, your consciousness, because you force it to come. It's going to come. It's going to be here. I'm going to have it. I have it right now, yes, but spending as credit, no. Because again, then you spend that, well, I've got to figure out a way to make the money to pay back what's already in my past. Rather than looking forward, now you're looking back, trying to figure out, and now you're kind of cheating. So in her case, what started happening is she kind of switched her mindset. She actually, at the time, became a Reiki master out there. I think she was finishing up her classes. And she got into that, bought the table, started putting ads out in different places where you could get away with that kind of stuff. She started doing some side writing jobs for some people that she knew. And all of a sudden, when she started opening up to that kind of stuff, there was actually a few people that hit her up on helping them set up small businesses, which she basically got paid well to help them do that. And she had a lot of experience doing that. She actually helped set up a healing center that we were a part of. And so the whole 9 yards, she'd been through that and certainly finding the capital and getting all those things. So she was very good at that. But it was when she finally got away from, here's my reality the way it is right now, I don't foresee that changing. How can I make it different? Maybe it's someone else is behaving a certain way. How can I alter their behavior? When oftentimes the other side of it is, how can I alter how I see their behavior? And when I change that actually changes what they do. Now, that does directly go to that us pushed out concept. And again, there's a lot to that whole concept as well. And I know I'm kind of all over the place on this. But what it comes down to, I guess, at least the point of what I thought I was trying to make, is we will sometimes get stuck in our head that something needs to happen a certain way. I know a real common one, Agnes and I have even talked about this before, but it's making money hourly. Looking at our income from an hourly standpoint. How do I increase my dollars per hour? And it's really breaking away from that thinking that starts to allow you to either A, maybe get paid by job, right? And maybe the job is however many hours is up to you. And you can get to a point where you might be able to actually book a large number. And a lot of us will find ourselves saying, I got paid for this job. The job took me 4 hours, so I ended up making this much money per hour. That's an increment that we can use. But you've also got scenarios where you can create like YouTube videos, for example. A YouTube video can go forever, and it can start to take off even later down the road. It can take a life of its own. It can somehow go viral. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, and that what you spent an hour doing forever ago can continue to generate revenue. How do you put a price on that? Like I spent 1 hour making the video and uploading everything, and I'm still making money on it. So it's not really money per hour, right? So you start to change your thinking around what it is that you're trying to manifest. So for those of us that are maybe struggling or maybe finding that it's not going as smoothly, look at it and see if maybe there's some sort of strictness that you've got in the way you're viewing how this is supposed to play out. Like how is this supposed to happen? What is the outcome supposed to be? And a lot of times it's because we're trying to micromanage the smaller steps rather than focusing on what the outcome is. So in her case, it was making more money, bringing in more revenue, increasing my revenue, increasing my income, increasing what I can buy and spend and all that. It wasn't, how can I keep more of my money? It wasn't how to, right? It wasn't that concept. It was from the standpoint of, how can I enhance more of what I've got? How can I get more of it? How can I bring more love into my life? How can I get him to pay more attention to me rather than them having to text you or them having to say something on Facebook or them having to do a specific act? Maybe the act is not needed. Maybe, again, we're focusing on how we want it to play out versus how it needs to play out. There's always got a plan. Universe knows what's going on. Universe, God, whatever, knows what's going on. Knows how to get you that. Your higher self. I've talked about it like being the eagle above the forest, right? And it can notice that off in that distance there's a river, and over there's a cliff. You don't want to go that way for sure. Back behind you there's a hungry bear, right? And then over here to the left is the direction you want to go, right? Like maybe that's where you want to go. So it's trying to guide you in the right direction. And sometimes we're very fixated on, but I hear the river. And it's like, yeah, normally, by the way, the river would be the right place. If you're in nature, right? It's the right place to go. But that might be, where some other wild animals are. So maybe by going this way, it actually bends around. You're going to save yourself miles of walking if you just go this way. And then boom, now all of a sudden you're at the river, but a different part of it in a much better place. Sometimes we need to just open ourselves up. And if you're not sure, if you don't have your manifestation, if it doesn't seem like it's progressing, right? And the progressing is going to be steps in the right direction, coincidences are happening, certain signs are occurring, you're getting closer and closer, maybe now you're sort of talking, maybe now you're sort of texting. If it's one of those situations where we keep finding ourselves going through these cycles, like we get close and then they get far, and then we get close and then we get far. Let's look at what we're asking for and what we're trying to manifest. Are we looking at an end result, but then we keep talking about something really close and maybe they contradict? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not sure what your situation is. But let's look at what we're asking for, and let's look at what we keep expecting to see as markers, if you will. And I think maybe that's where some of this comes from too. It's that I'm trying to manifest this. Here are the things that I would expect to see. Oh, this happened. Oh, that's not. No. I'm not gonna pay attention to that. This is what I expected to see. Oh, and this happened over here. No. That didn't count. I've seen a lot of people do that where they're so fixated on the specific sign they get. I want a yellow butterfly, and then a red butterfly floats by, and they're like, "Huh? No, it's not yellow." And it's like, it's a butterfly, and maybe there's a reason why it's not yellow, and maybe it's red for a reason. Like, are you so fixated on your tunnel vision, myopic view of this to where you can't understand that I was asking for a butterfly, and now all of a sudden a red butterfly goes by? What does that mean? Maybe I need to be more open to change. Maybe this isn't going to quite play out like I thought. These are some of the fun little things I have fun when I get the goofy signs like that. Maybe this is going to play out a little differently than you've been believing. So allow it to. Allow it to play out. Again, this is kind of part of that art of allowing. This gets back into that whole thing. But when you finally open it up and you let it happen the way it wants to happen, the way it should happen, the best way for it to happen, the quickest way for it to happen. When you let it happen, when you give it the ability, just like, look, here's the end. I want to get there. I want to be with them. I want to be spending time with them. And again, some people are like, how do you keep maintaining? From that same standpoint, it's like, I want to continue living with this person. I want to see ourselves having a family and growing old together and all that. So that's what you're manifesting. You're manifesting the relationship with this wonderful person. How those dots connect along the way when you're dating, like prior to dating, let them play out. Don't try to manifest a text message from them. Don't try to manifest them skywriting above your house. You know, those airplanes that spit out smoke and it'll spell "marry me" or something crazy. And you're like, ha, that's to me, or the other thousands of people that live right around me. Let the universe show you the way. Stop telling it how and let it be. Learn that there are the other ways you can go. Learning to Reiki, learning to be able to give people advice on how to start up businesses, right? Like, these things ended up making her a lot of income, a lot more than she would have made had she figured out how to detox herself properly. So again, sometimes what's supposed to happen and what should happen, and if we let it, will happen, is oftentimes far better than what we even truly imagine. So that's why it's good to stay away from those little parts of the imaginal work and get more to the sort of result and let the steps fill themselves in, because really, honestly, oftentimes they're going to play out differently. If you've been trying to manifest the little pieces, you may be successful right now. I'm talking about those of you that are maybe cycling. Careful. I keep getting close and I get far. I get close and I get far. There's limiting. There's something you need to try differently. You're in a cycle. Not good. Get out of the cycle. Break it. Do something different. Look at things differently. What are you asking for? These are the things that are going to help you figure out which direction to go. Right? It's going to help you grow towards your outcome when you fully understand what it is that you're trying to create and not make it happen step by step by step. Like, get to the end result. Don't worry about all the steps. I feel like I'm beating this point up, and I'm all over the place. But I don't know. Dan RadioStyle. Been a little out of sync lately. Some stuff. Getting better, but it's out there. So anyway, tunnel vision. I don't know. Sometimes it can force you to miss the bigger picture. Sometimes you'll miss what is right in front of you. No, I don't want the red butterfly. No, it's over there. Pay attention to that. It's there for a reason. What are you shooing away? It's probably something you want to pay attention to. Hope this helps. We'll get some more stuff out. I don't know if you had a chance to maybe check out the video Anyas and I just did. Had that released yesterday. It took me a little bit of effort to get that plumbed out and everything as well. These files are so huge, I'm actually finding I'm just not waiting long enough. I'm giving up on my software, even though it's like, gone like, it's not responding. It's like, no, it's just sad. It's working really hard. So anyway, I hope you guys had a chance to check it out. Some really great questions that we talked about. So I just put that out, I think, yesterday. Anyas and myself did a wonderful questions from you guys, for that matter, too. And that was the cool thing, is it was my audience that provided the questions that we used. And there was some great questions in there. So a few of you guys got called out by name. Some of you will recognize yourself. Some of it's just like, yeah, Lisa. Like, who's Lisa, right? Doing more stuff. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I always appreciate that. You can put the little bell icon-y thing, and that way whenever I release videos, you will be notified, and you will say, oh my gosh, Dan's got a new video out. And shucky darn, yes indeedy I do. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a good one.